this is Michèle at Jasami Bookworm Podcast, and welcome to the first day of December, the very first day of the holiday season, not before it, but starts with the 1st of December. Now we have a very special guest once again, Judith Bowers from the Britannia Panopticon.
Hello everybody and welcome to December.
So I've got a fantastic announcement for everyone. On the 16th of December, the Britannia Panopticon will host its Christmas fair. You won't want to miss it because there's lots of fabulous little gifts that you'll be able to purchase. You'll also be able to purchase, what is the book called?
Glasgow's A Lost Theatre, the story of the Britannia Music Hall by myself, Judith Bowers.
The best and most fascinating historian as far as I'm concerned.
With foreword by Michael Grade. I'm Lord Michael Grade at that.
So we don't want to forget the beginning, but I'm delighted to say that you're going to read a little snippet from inside the book. So on the 16th, you'll be able to purchase this book itself, as well as Jasami Publishing will have some of our books available, yet to be released. Please pay special attention to our social media, where we will be announcing it. So please do begin with a story or a part of the story from your book, Judith.
And I'm going to begin with how I actually first managed to gain access to the building itself.
Which wasn't easy.
No, it was not. And this is actually chapter 2 of the book, and it's called Opening the Door. One drizzly day near the end of February 1997, I was walking down the Trongate on my way back to my office, which was at that time in the old Canderiggs Market in the Merchant City. I was returning from a meeting and was feeling as miserable as the weather. As I wandered past the pale blue building and looked up, as was my habit, to the upper floors, I heard a tapping sound. On the other side of the shop window was Helen, an old friend from the Virginia Galleries. We hadn't seen each other for a couple of years, so I went into the arcade. Helen took me into a small staff area at the back of the amusements. As we were sitting drinking coffee, I began to quiz her about the building. "Have you been upstairs?" I asked. "I use the attic to store props and I don't like it. I'm sure it's haunted. All sorts of weird things happen up there. Stuff moves around and I've heard strange noises. It's creepy." "Do you think you could take me upstairs?" I asked, at which point a door at the back of the staff area opened and in walked a man who joined us at the table and started chatting to us. Helen introduced him to me as the building's owner. At last, my chance had come. He seemed pleasant and friendly, so I began to ask him about the building. How much did he know about it? How much of the auditorium was left? "There's not really very much left," he replied. "It's been sealed off for years, and there really isn't anything to see. It's dark and I don't take people up there in case they fall through a floor." The glimmer of hope that I might one day be privy to the secrets that this building held began to fade. Although I had read that much of the auditorium was still extant, these articles were about 10 years old, and a lot could have happened since then. I had to see what was left. I began telling the owner some of the history I had so far discovered. I told him about the debut of Stan Laurel in the building and how it was one of the last surviving early music halls in Britain. He listened patiently. I pleaded with him to let me see the upper floors. "I know you said that there isn't much left, but I worked on archaeological excavations for about 4 years, and the experience has taught me a lot about looking for clues left by the past. I only want a quick look, just to see what does survive, and if possible, at some point to come back and take a couple of photographs of anything that does remain, even if it's just a scrap of old plasterwork." I desperately fluttered my eyelashes, and Helen backed my plea, telling him that I was interested in Glasgow history and that I ran ghost tours. At length, he finally agreed to take me upstairs. He went off to find the keys, and I waited with Helen for his return. Excitement began to drum its fingers on the base of my spine. For years I had tried to get above the shop floors of this old building, and now I had the opportunity to do so. I knew I might be disappointed when I got there, but there was also the chance that there was more evidence surviving than the owner let on. He returned a few minutes later with a set of keys and a torch, and then he took me across the arcade to another door at the back of the bingo area. We went through this door and began to climb a brightly lit staircase which led to a half landing where there was another door. The owner unlocked it, and suddenly I found myself stepping back into the past. As the door closed behind us, the noise of the gaming machines and the bingo caller faded. The smell of freshly brewed coffee and cigarettes, which had pervaded the amusements below, was replaced by the ancient smell of wood and plaster. It felt as if time had suddenly stopped. My stiletto heels clicked on the stone steps as we made our way up the age-worn staircase, which spiralled up like those found in old Glasgow tenement closes. I put my hand on the heavy wooden banister, and my fingers pushed away the thick layer of dust. The wood beneath had been worn smooth by the hands of thousands that must have grasped it as I did now. We stopped at another half landing and another door. Suddenly I had butterflies in my stomach, and for a moment I am sure I forgot to breathe. This was the door I had been waiting for all my life. I was about to enter my own Narnia. The owner opened the door and switched on his torch. There were no fur coats to push past, but we stepped onto a wooden floor which was covered from floor to ceiling with cardboard boxes. "They're not heavy," said the owner. "They've only got coat hangers in them. Just push them out of the way." So I did. By torchlight, we spent a good 5 minutes pushing the piles of boxes around until we had cleared a path through to the edge of the floor. I walked across to where a large timber roof truss erupted from the floor below, as if the roof of another building was trying to break through. The owner then handed me the torch, and with that thin golden beam, I picked out a scene that I could never have imagined still existed. I could see that the alien roof truss was pushing through the front of a wooden balcony of partitioned bench seating, which curved round like a horseshoe in front of me. It reminded me of a gallery in one of the larger Victorian churches. Large, boarded-up arch windows flanked either side of the balcony, and an arcaded ceiling loomed high above the intrusive timber truss. As I adjusted to the geography of the room, I realised that the invading structure was supporting the ceiling of the room below, the same ceiling which I had stood beneath and wandered about when the leather club was still trading. My torch beam traced across the ceiling above me, picked out the dirty gold and brown colour scheme stained with the tobacco smoke of the last paying audiences. In areas where the dirty gold had peeled off, other layers of decoration were revealed, dark blue with gold stars, pale blue, white, and a layer of deep, sumptuous red. The centre of the ceiling was a lattice of wood and mesh, with 4 portholes cut into it, where some form of lighting, probably gasoliers, must have once hung. At the back of the auditorium, I could make out a projection room, one of the only 20th century alterations from a time when the music hall had been used as a cinema. To the right of the projection room was a large set of doors with the words "Exit" above and a sign reading "Gents" to the right of that. I was stunned. Everything seemed to be here. I could almost hear the old audience shouting and booing at the act, thick tobacco smoke hanging in grey streamers above their heads. I got a sense of the overwhelming closeness, even in the icy chill of that February day. It was as if time had stood completely still in this place, as if someone had locked the door in 1938 and nothing, not even the air, had moved since.
I love the story. I love the introduction to what is such an enigmatic and mysterious building. Phenomenal, phenomenal. So once again, don't forget, on Saturday, the 16th of December, you'll be able to purchase this book, as well as publications from Dasami. And what else will you have, Judith?
Oh, we've got lots of lovely things. We've got Ashley Cook selling some of her lovely artwork and tarot cards. We've also got the lovely Sean with his gorgeous cushions and soft furnishings. We've got jewellery, we've got second-hand clothing, we've got second-hand books as well. We've got all sorts of wonderful handmade items and gift ideas by some of the most amazing of Glasgow crafters.
I think that handmade Christmas gifts are such a forgotten treasure. And if we don't do it ourselves, but if someone else has created it and done a wonderful part to it. So don't forget, that's the 16th of December.
From noon till 5 p.m.
From noon till 5 p.m. And then one more item on Saturday, the 2nd of December, which is just the day after this podcast. Please don't forget to visit Calman's Christmas Fair on Calman Support Group, which is on the grounds of Garton Naval Hospital. It's their Christmas fair. And part of our sales from Chef Ruth Denzi's books will be donated to Calman's at the end of the festival. So we're all about giving back to the community, as we love to give back to the Panopticon, because they give so much history and lessons and treasures and treats and film to everyone else. So as this is, I'll probably add a PS to this, but at the end of our meeting today, would you love to do a shout out to someone, Judith, please?
I would love to do a shout out to my girls, to Becca, Debbie and Meredith, Mary Joy otherwise known as, because all three of them have been with me for 10 years helping me with this incredible project, and I really couldn't do it without them. They are the most fantastic three women ever. Apart from yourself, obviously, but they are amazing.
And apart from some of our team, because who are the best ever, obviously, and our creative team, it embodies that. But it also embodies the excitement and enthusiasm and care about our history and about improving people's lives and giving a little bit of entertainment back to everybody. So since you've done that, I have to do a shout out to my creative team. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do what we do at Dasami. So that's my shout out. I thank you very much for that. I'll probably add a PS, but in case I don't, I'll do it as always and wish you all a sunny day.